Now we're going to have our next panel, Unlocking Player Loyalty, the Impact of Gamification in Brazil's newly regulated betting sector. So I would like to invite to the stage, please, Kearns of Xtremepush. Xtremepush, please. Sir Tommy, welcome. Nicolás Campano of SOFTSWISS, please, welcome. Dinos Stranomitis of Altenar. Victor Sekushenko of SOFTSWISS. And Maksym Tsaryk of Growe, please.
Thank you very much. Hey everybody. My name is Tommy Kearns, and I am the moderator for the next 25 to 40 minutes. And I'm joined by a tremendous bunch of guys here from some really cool companies. And really, you know, just to reiterate what this panel is about, it's kind of trying to understand in such a, you know, this week has been a great week. I take it everybody sees the positivity and the kind of opportunity of Brazil, all right? And it is a newly regulated and regulating market as we speak. And we want to understand throughout the next 40 minutes of how gamification plays into the hands of this new market. And we have a great panel for that. So without further ado, I will let maybe I'll introduce myself first. I am Tommy Kearns, CEO, co-founder of Xtremepush. We are the leading CRM, marketing, and loyalty platform globally. And what we do basically is we plug into operators and help them understand their visitors and customers and help them automate relevant marketing messages through all the digital channels. So we work with about 300 logos around the world, relevant to here, the FanJules, the Fanatics, BetSol, Superbet, 𝐂𝐭𝐡, et cetera, around the world, and that's what we do. So without further ado, I will hand you across to Nicolás.
Hi everyone, Nicolás Campano here, Sales Director for SOFTSWISS. We're a platform provider, we're an operator, but mainly we are a gamification provider. Been in the industry for around 8 years and been with SOFTSWISS for around 4 months. I'm developing the Latam market for them.
Great. Dinos.
I'm Dinos Stranomitis. Unfortunately, I'm in the industry more than 20 years. I'll try to reduce it in the coming years, I hope. I'm from Altenar. I'm Chief Operating Officer. We do sports betting in Brazil, and it's a great country for sports, guys. That's it.
Thank you.
Hey everyone, Victor Sekushenko here from SOFTSWISS. I'm head of sales at Sportsbook. We're kind of a one-stop shop solution for all things gaming related, and Brazil for us is the next chapter, the next big thing. We're developing steadily here, obviously doing Sportsbook, and gonna talk about how gamification is gonna change the market. Thank you.
Hi guys, my name is Maksym. I'm from Growe. I'm running Brazilian business for Parimatch.
Great, thanks Maksym. So let's dive straight into it. So. New market, big market, massive amount of energy and focus on acquiring customers, all right? But like every other market, the focus needs to change. So if we can kind of just have a couple of questions here. How can gambling operators shift their focus from acquiring new players to doubling down on the retaining these existing ones? And how does gamification play a role in this transition? So maybe Dinos, you could kick that off, if that's okay.
I can start, no problem at all. Well, the focus is on loyalty, of course, but acquisition, I agree with you. Eventually, we have to go back and see the basic things. What is loyalty? Loyalty, you are loyal if you have a good service. If you have a good service, you're getting what you want, and you must have a good product. And that's Brazil. You need a Brazilian product. I'll give you a short example. I don't want to waste much of your time. We started with Xtremepush in October. 6 months, we have 5 times the volume. Why? because we have to think Brazilian. Brazil is not a Latin American country. Brazil is Brazil. You have to design for Brazil. It's different in Colombia, it's different in Peru, different in Mexico. That's, you create loyalty, one customer speaks to another, they come to your website, you're creating service. Product, service, loyalty. I think this would describe the entire landscape.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Brazil is a very specific market, and for us, when it comes to gamification and Brazil, it's not only about creating a narrative and creating a new experience so you can engage the players so they can be loyal to your brand, but also in our experience, we've seen how in Brazil there's a lot of bonus abuse. So when it comes to gamification, what you're doing is you're reducing the marketing spend and the bonus spend, and then you're actually using the gamification to engage the player. So I believe it's a double, let's say, objective and a double purpose. The gamification is A, to engage the player and increase the screen time. So, and the other thing is to reduce the bonus spend. At the end of the day, we are in SoftSWISS believers that we are for sure competing with other casinos, but we are actually competing with Twitch, with TikTok, with screen time. So with gamification, what we're actually doing is not adding a product so we can get more deposits and more revenue. What we're doing is engaging the players so they can spend more time, and eventually that gets more deposits in.
Brilliant. Maksym?
Yeah, I want to add, first of all, to complement what Dina's saying, is that I like to say that Brazil is not just the country. There are several countries inside of Brazil, and different regions has their own football clubs, even some kind of dialects. So it's not just about specifically Brazil outside of Latam. Brazil is several countries inside of the countries. And as an operator, I want to highlight that, first of all, it's probably one of the most competitive market now in the world. The price for user acquisition is growing up every month. Right now, if you go on Google auction for the click, we need to bid between 10,000 of accounts, and the price of user acquisition goes up every month. So retention and gamification and loyalty programs are essential. It's do or die. There is no other way to go. So that is something that every operator should be focused on, and all of us will have our specific angle, how to tackle it and what to do.
You mentioned a stat earlier, just, you know, you kind of, if you can double click into the Google piece that you were saying earlier, like, because it'll give the audience an understanding of how the acquisition costs have gone up, and also focus the attention into, you know, once you have them, how you're going to keep them.
Yeah, just to explain what happened in October, the operators got an opportunity to whitelist Google accounts, and before that we were buying traffic basically through affiliates. Now we can do it directly, and every betting operator now has a whitelist account in Google, and it's thousands of them here, literally, and thousands of them are bidding for the click right now. It drives the price so high that in some cases it's for most operators there is no ROI model for that. So that is why it's very important to maintain your user base and make sure that they're loyal to you, and they will stay with you longer.
Thanks. Victor, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. I agree with Max, especially with the statement that Brazil is so divided. I heard from the locals multiple times that they do prefer even to support their local clubs more than the national team. So that just only complements to that. So from there, you have to personalize your approach, and of course, the bonuses are good, obviously, but you can't double down on them, especially with the new regulation in place soon, where the bonuses are most likely going to be banned in that or this capacity. So you'll have to find a way to replace them, to replicate, to build a more loyal player base through different other solutions, and kind of gamification tools and loyalty programs and many more. So it is what it is.
Can I comment
Go, Dinos,
something?
please.
Actually, I would agree with Maksym that it's already more expensive than what it was before, but I'm afraid it's much cheaper than what will be in the future.
For sure.
Yes.
Maybe we could just go back in the localization part, because that's a huge part. You mentioned different regions, Maksym. Are you, would you be an advocate of a very different strategy in every little region, or the micro regions within Brazil, or maybe?
So we started our operations in January 2023 officially. We became a sponsor of Botafogo. So in terms of localizations, where our biggest part of our user base are from Rio de Janeiro. And the gamification is, in most cases, in our platform happens around the teams and the sport events that we are sponsoring. So if we are talking about specific pages on our platform, specific events, it all happens around Botafogo or esport events that we are sponsoring, or racing, stock cars, racing events that we are sponsoring. So we are specifically focused on the specific ways how we do user acquisition, and then we are focused on a specific way how we maintain our user base based on our contracts and sponsorship opportunities.
And Dinos, you were talking about.
I would like to comment on that, if you don't mind. For example, we say with another operator we have 𝐭𝐡, they mostly have audience in Porto Alegre. Obviously, when Grêmio plays, it makes a difference. And all you have to do to create a campaign for Grêmio. You will not get as many bonus abuse as you think, because someone has something with a passion. That's it. You have to personalize. If you want to go to work in Salvador, different. Recife, Bahia. Maybe I'm not pronouncing everything correct, but so you have to know where your customer comes from. For us, unfortunately, as a B2B provider, we can't see necessarily all these details, but we can see this from the choices, what the customers want. There are people that they love NBA in Brazil. They love basketball. Great basketball teams also. They love volleyball. Maybe volleyball could be, in my opinion, second best in terms of how you feel about it in Brazil compared to football. So all this has to be taken into account, create your campaigns, target the audience, get back loyalty.
Yeah, and just I think, so we talk about the outbound campaign, so it brings us back into the data side.
With the product together.
Correct. So how are you guys, maybe come to Victor and Nicolás, how are you guys using data to kind of understand these customers better and drive that loyalty through gamification?
Yeah, it's a good question. So first and foremost, from a provider or vendor perspective, we don't have direct contact to the players, but our main goal here is to give the actual operator all the tools that they need in order to be able to analyze the data. So in our platform, we have specific modules that collect the data. They can streamline the data wherever in Tableau or in Power BI. Then, based on that, data sets, we can learn and act on it to perform some data-driven decisions and so on and so forth. Plus, like the Sportsbook product of ours works in a way where it uses AI in order to learn itself on the data collected and provide the personalized content to the players. So based off their geographical position, their preferences and interests, so it automatically updates and the players are happy. This is what it is.
Yeah, for us in Soft2Bet is quite similar. Data is super important for all our customers, and when it comes to gamification, it's really important as well, VIP segmentation. So what we have is obviously a virtual currency that the player gets once they make a sports bet or a spin, and they actually are available to spend this in the gamification component. But you need to differentiate different types of players according to different types of geos, as he was saying, but also according to different types of amounts of bets, right? So when we actually work on the layout of our gamifications, we have many differents that are depending on the target audience and also the amounts of bets. Because if a high roller is going to get a €5 reward for building a stadium, it's not going to make any sense, right? So it's super important player segmentation according to revenue. Yeah.
Okay, great. And Maksym, have you anything to add, or Dinos on that? Just maybe from the data perspective, I know this.
We can talk about data for days if you want.
Maybe you could give us some examples.
Yeah, I just want to say that as we are B2C operator, we have a unique opportunity to talk to our customers, to understand their needs, to create the polls on the product, to send them SMS or email. Like, what do you want to get? What kind of product do you want to see on our platform? What kind of offline event you want to visit? And that's some pros that we have as a B2C operator, and the unique way how we gather data compared to B2B operators.
You know how important is data? We pay $10,000 a month and we cannot find data engineers.
Where do you look?
No matter where.
Yeah.
Does not really matter. Now it's after the COVID, it's global. It's a global market. But
Dinos just doesn't want to share.
where we have our people. Near to yours. Okay, anyway, why I say this? Data is your property. That's your property. All you have today is data. You sell your company, you sell your data.
Yeah, and maybe just So just for the audience,
How we're using them,
it's
a
how
long
you.
story.
That's my
It's
point.
a
It's
long
how
story.
you use the data.
It's a
Because
long story.
if you
ask me, artificial intelligence in this industry is not here yet. No matter what we can promote, is not yet here. We're working on that. It will be.
as in the sophistication of the market.
Absolutely. At the moment, we run queries. Hopefully, we have people that they know what they run. Hopefully, you segment.
Yeah.
That's very correct, you said. And the more passion you put behind it, the more resources you put behind it, the more streamlined. And the better result. That's how it is.
Yes. Yes. Okay, let's move. Maybe your Maksym, you can share. Sorry, some of the success stories even in the market from just a sponsorship perspective. All right, you guys are the operator on, direct operator on the panel.
Yeah, as my colleagues told, obviously football is #1 sport over here for Sportsbook. It's very hard to compete. But in our cases, we had great opportunities to sponsor several events and some team in Counter-Strike. For us, e-sport, cybersport is #2. It's for us, it's enormous, especially during the events like Major and MSL and others. This audience that we have on our platform, they're used to gamification because they play day to day. They watch events on Counter-Strike, and the moment when we launched the business, we didn't have a special product for VIP users, for esport players, so no segmentation. We just were in the early stage. But when we launched the gamification for specific segments, especially for esport audience, we saw the increase of retention rate 40%. It was a significant result, and since that moment, we understand that this is the future. Not for every segment, Football in Brazil, as I said, it's too general. You can hardly segment. You can segment it by location, right? So, like in Rio, you need to specify for Rio clubs, but it's too general. But for esports, gamification is the key. That's what I was able to share with you.
Yeah, us from the operator perspective, we've partnered up with a company that was called 𝐰𝐢𝐭𝐡, which was originally a casual, it is still a casual game. And what we did is we did a deal with them and we got the graphics and we reduced, let's say, the complexity of the game. And then we created a casino that it's called 𝐰𝐢𝐿. So what we did was basically create, obviously, a virtual currency, and it's a casino, live casino, is no sports related, it's only casino and live. And what we have seen is after a year, we've seen an increase in 3 times in terms of screen time. When it comes to average revenue per user, we've seen 45% increase, and GGR is a 65% increase. So it's absolutely massive when it comes to the engagement of the players. And also we've seen out of all those active players, 52% of those players were involved in the gamification component. So I think it's really important here to understand that also, so gamification is retention for sure, but I think it has part of acquisition as well. The new generations that are not interested in just spinning or like making a sports bet, there's a huge audience out there that is playing casual games. If you can actually manage to combine those two and increase that screen time, at the end of the day, they're actually going to make a deposit and they are actually going to be driven to the casino side. So that's kind of like one of our main
conversion funnel. Conversion. Dino or Victor?
I would like maybe to emphasize a bit when we're talking all this gamification, loyalty, it's important to understand your audience in terms of user experience. Why I say this? Believe it or not, you will find huge difference in South Europe, for example, between Spain, Italy, Greece, Turkey, Germany, going north, Sweden. Same goes in Latin America. The way the audience is learned to approach the product, it makes a difference. If today you have someone who is registered, say, I don't know where to find Flamengo, for example, or I don't know where to find this market, or I don't know where, you lost him. That's it. There is the British approach, is a North American approach, is a Mexican approach, is a Colombian approach.
That's what we were discussing yesterday, you and I,
exactly.
about the layouts, right? I mean, it's so different.
But does and again, is how the audience, believe it or not, you know, the first company in this country, in my Sporting Bet, they have a specific way to find the content. Very British, by the way. Not the best, don't get me wrong. It's okay. But then...
When you say British?
Okay. Bet365, yeah, they teach the audience. Now Betano tried a bit different way, maybe a little bit optimized. It makes a difference. So if you can watch all these things and you can position yourself, you can easily say, okay, it's easy, I like it. You know, the customer will bet with emotion, not necessarily with the price.
Yeah, but it all ties together though, insofar as a good product, a good user interface, good data feeds that you get on.
Absolutely.
And the user experience of that. Then you have them. You've got the first deposit. You've got, you know, the first bet. Now it's around how are you driving retention and growth through these type of different tools. No? Yeah. So it is all connected, and I think that's a good understanding. Dino, the way you explain that as, you know, it starts at the product. All right?
Just quick comment on that. I think is going back to casual gaming, because at the end of the day, this is what we're kind of learning from them. I think it's really interesting how these guys are doing, you know, the comeback every day for a different type of reward. So when it comes to retention, I think we should learn from them, you know, in terms of...
Yeah, and using those daily retention games for a conversion at a later stage.
Even at reactivation level as well.
Yes. And also at a localization, as in what are they interested? There's no point in doing a daily retention game of basketball if they're soccer lovers, you know? Okay, we move on. Yeah, I actually just wanted to stay on that for 2 seconds. In relation to value-added kind of incentives, all right? So there's always the normal, we talk about free-to-play games, we talk about that, but is there any other, have you seen any other examples in the market where operators are using kind of partnerships, you know, very specific partnerships with retailers or whatever to kind of change up the game and kind of more, you know, differentiate themselves to bring loyalty? Victor?
Yeah, of course. Obviously, B2C operators are using ambassadors all the time to drive more attention to the brand, to create loyalty, to create trust. From our perspective, as a B2B company in the market, we wanted to do something similar, yet a bit different, because we're not connected to the players directly. We want to speak to slightly other audience. So what we did is we signed an agreement with Rubens Barrichello. Thank you. Yeah, he's a, to be fair, very down to the ground and cool guy. So we did that, but not in the capacity of an ambassador, rather than a non-executive director here. And we just want to learn from his experience in big tech companies, big teams, and being a local guy. So far, we have seen a lot of good response from the operators, from our partners. So I think that a lot of top brands will also follow that approach and utilize this option in order to create loyalty, because local guys like local legends and local icons.
And I also want to add that, as I said, competitiveness on the market is crazy, and it's getting harder and harder to do user acquisition, getting harder and harder to get a spot on TV. So in the nearest future, I believe that we'll see a lot of creative campaigns, how B2C operators gonna collaborate with, I don't know, with the umbrellas or with Uber or whatever, you name it, like to be able still to be able to build a brand over here, because it's essential in Brazil to build a brand, and it will be a lot of, in the nearest future, a lot of interesting collaborations, and we'll see it.
The influencer market here is ginormous.
Yeah.
Do you think about using? Yes, go for it, Dino.
If you ask me how to categorize the traffic, let's say where the traffic comes from, well, Brazil, there is always an official and one unofficial traffic. Always in every South country, including Europe. Why I say that? It's still, if you make it an agreement with agents, we should not feel ashamed to say cash business. It's happening in Brazil. It's great. Not bad at all. You need to find the right people in the right neighborhoods. Of course, influencers is official. Even though influencers are not loyal, you know, their audience, hopefully. And then is the affiliates. And then, this is what I think the games start getting big. What Betano came say, no, I will buy the teams. And then, what's future? DraftKings will come and say, I will buy all the teams. And then is an end game. If you are here, you are here. If you are not here, it doesn't worth even to consider come. Simple as that.
Maksym, you're?
Yeah, just agents. It's a very, very gray areas for me. And in a
Dark
very
white.
Yeah. Second.
Dark white.
Yeah. That's okay. Let's let me like that. And obviously, in the nearest future, it will be almost impossible to run the business that way due to regulations.
Well, you did bring up regulations and compliance. How do you, the bonus regulations, how do you feel gamification is going to play? You know, if you can give us some examples of how you are thinking as an operator about, no bonuses being able for acquisition. How do you think about that in the market?
Yeah, first of all, we understand that, and we are very happy that regulation is coming. Actually, it's a quite good law in terms of taxes, and in general, it's workable. So thanks to the government to do a great job, and to associations. But yeah, there's a surprise with bonuses. Obviously, bonuses is a tool to do user acquisition, to bring on new users. For newcomers, it will be harder to do user acquisition. For the operators with the huge user base, they don't need to do user acquisition that heavily as a new players. But I think this industry is very creative. There will be the way how to do it. not the bonuses, but some other way to create another way of loyalty program. So let's wait until the final document from the government, and then we'll start brainstorming how we'll do that.
I've no doubt you're started already, Maksym. Dinos, or Victor.
Yeah, I would agree with Max that the ban of the bonuses was a bit of a kick in the gut. It wasn't expected. Well, maybe was expected, but everyone had their fingers crossed up until the end. However, we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. There's a lot of talk in the industry that it might backfire by driving some players towards the gray area and .com approach. But I believe, and everyone from SOFTSWISS believes, that if the rules of the game are clearly defined and all the proper players are abiding by the rules, we're going to be in the same situation. And then it comes back to the main topic of our today's discussion, which is gamification and other tools of creating player loyalty. So it is what it is. We have to live with that, and we will.
Every regulation is better than no regulation. Let's put in that to start with. Second, if you want to give money, you can find a way to give money. Simple. Now, if you ask me, definitely all these rules that all the governments in the world, they pretend that they protect the consumer, it's rubbish. With or without bonus. That's clear. Unfortunately, gray business will exist as far as every government does not listen to the industry to make something that will get everyone on board. In a nice way, simple. If you ask me, yeah, well, Brazil, I agree. It's good. It's okay. It's okay. Can be. There are much worse situations, 100%. It's unfortunately why everyone does not copy UK. In my opinion, UK more likely is the way to go for every country. You know, despite my comment earlier. Yeah. Okay. So that's a little bit of comment about all this situation, the rules, the regulation, etc.
Yeah, it's good for the market overall. Okay.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think I said it before. When it comes to bonusing and gamification, it's a little bit about retention, right? When it comes to banning bonuses and welcome offers and those kind of things, is as you say, a bit of a kick in the butt. but I think when it comes to user acquisition, if you're not allowed to do any kind of bonuses, you need to differentiate yourself somehow. And again, I'm going back to introducing casual gaming. You need to have a product that stands out. Like, for example, we have Bonus Grab, which is a very simple thing. It's just a claw machine and a camera behind where you can actually redirect the claw. So it's something that no one really has, and it's a really easy concept, but it just works, you know. So and you can say that is gamification because it's a product that it was never really casinized, let's say, right?
Okay, good. So I'll just one more question, guys, as we come to a close. You know, we're in a very exciting period in Brazil. All right, it's still very, very early. All right, lots of regulation coming, a lot of operators in the market, a lot more coming, a lot of great products in the market. If you could, you know, leave the audience with, and we say in Ireland, a nugget, a little golden nugget. You know, what are the kind of one or two really important things? You know, and we'll start with you, Maksym, around gamification, loyalty, just the overall market of how to succeed. Obviously, gamification and loyalty feeds into that, but what are the important things on this early journey?
Yeah, on my opinion, first of all, you need to understand your customer base. And then everyone has the bonuses, everyone has loyalty programs, cashbacks, and so on. It's nothing special about it, just do it. But on our case, we are focused on specific events, mainly offline events that helps to build us a community around our brands, around our partnership. And that's what I believe will be our focus in the nearest 2-3 years.
Victor?
If I were to choose 2-3 things, like you suggested, Tommy, it's going to be, first of all, focus on localization. Working with your player base in that way that is personalized and adequate. Obviously, developing other ways of building loyalty rather than bonuses, stuff like jackpots, maybe combo boosts, so different kind of mechanics that replicate bonuses. And yeah, just be sure to comply with the regulations, but there's always workaround if it's not perfect, so keep that in mind.
My estimation is that in Brazil at the moment there are about 700 operators. 8% of this will get a license. 10% of the 8% will survive. Keeping your customers is an important point. How you do it? Make sure you have good tools. First. Have good people. Get ready to fight. In the next 5 years, not many people will be in this show.
Very dramatic.
I was trying to keep optimism. I was trying to keep it optimistic, guys.
Yeah, good way to finish
May I say so?
conversation.
It is. It is. Isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be a big fight, agree.
It was
Especially when
yes.
companies from US will join the fight.
Ooh.
It will be even more exciting.
So get ready. Get good tools. Get good people. Get ready to fight.
And I'll come to you, Nicolás, on that. But just maybe I'll add to that. So yes, it will be. There will be great optimism. Then there will be carnage. All right. But the consumer who is consuming this product is going to get the best product out there because there's going to be so much competition. All right. So I hear you. I don't disagree with you, by the way. But I think it's important to look at it from the consumer perspective as well. If you've got a product and you've got a people and you've got a strategy and you've got delivery and execution and you've got that sorted, then you will be in the dogfight. And that's important to say that. Sorry, Nicolás.
Yeah, no worries. So I think if I was to give a golden nugget, I would say that gamification is not the future, is the present, and there's not such thing as virtual reality or augmented reality in our industry. I think the immediate future is actually gamification. I think localization is quite key, and I think, and I would add that it is the immediate future, but I think there's a lot of other industries that are doing it better than us, and I think we need to simplify it. In our own experience, we've made mistakes, but then we've actually learned a lot of things. And I think we were talking about this the other day. When it comes to crypto exchanges, for example, I told you that I signed up in a new crypto exchange, and the whole journey that explained me how their gamification worked, it was absolutely impeccable. So I think localization, super important, and simplicity.
Couldn't agree more. Guys, we've come to the end. Can we give the panel of operators and service providers a round of applause? Thank you.